One of the most highly controversial money-making methods in all of Skyblock, this subgenre of moneymakers are heavily debated amongst the community for its somewhat nuisance-inducing methods of earning coins, yet through the art of laziness, this subgenre has still managed to prevail as one of the potentially best ways to get coins for your time if done correctly. Of course, I am talking none other than AFK money-making methods. Since there are just so many different AFK methods in this whole game, we are going to be taking a deeper look at one which is heavily underrated, and that is AFKing the Mage Outlaw. Now there's actually a few pros to this method besides just earning coins, the main three of which are Bestiary, KUUDRA Keys and Thunderbolts. So let's begin with the latter with Thunderbolts, as that is the main enticement for this whole moneymaker. I presume you all probably already know how Thunderbolts function, but if not, there will be a wiki page linked down in the description below on exactly how they work. Now the main reason we are AFKing a Mage Outlaw is because she gives us a large amount of charge from her attacks or when she is defeated. So all we have to do is just plop ourselves down right over here at location and just AFK, right? Well, it's just never that simple. Firstly, the Mage Outlaw surprisingly hurts a lot when we aren't actually dodging her attacks, so to counteract this we're going to be using some pretty decent armour. More specifically, you will need to use any of the 5 wither sets in the game as they are tanky enough to survive the hits, and they also have the added bonus of the Witherborn ability. And you're also going to be needing any type of necromancer weapon, which I will talk more on later. Next, you're going to need to talk to Maxwell and use the Healthy Power Reforge, which is made from 9 vitamin deaths. These are really cheap, so this shouldn't be much of an issue. And then also remember to retune your tuning points into extra health. This should now be enough to tank the Mage Outlaw, but if you're still struggling you can try to use a bulky Withercloak sword or use gold or armour instead. And if you're going to be AFKing for a long period of time, try to find a low day lobby as much as you can by pressing F3, and to make sure to summon any kind of horse pet and ride on it, and then you won't get kicked for AFK. I personally just use a skeleton horse pet for this, but any type honestly just works fine. Now the next thing we can also get is KUUDRA Keys. There's only 2 ways of getting KUUDRA Keys in the game, and that's either by Vanquisher grinding or killing Crimson Isle mini-bosses. Since we've already established that we could kill the Outlaw pretty consistently by being fully AFK, there should be no issue for us to just continue to AFK. I mean, all the loot teleports right into our inventory, so we don't even have to lift a single finger. But as it usually goes for this game, it really doesn't want us to do anything AFK. Basically the dilemma here is that every time you kill the same boss 5 times in a row, you don't gain any of the associated rewards with the boss. Now this is not a problem with Thunderbolts for example, as they are not associated with the boss, and therefore they are fully AFK. However, for KUUDRA Keys it is a little bit different. I've personally tried to see through every loophole to get around this, so we can get loot somehow fully AFK, but sadly if you're aiming to get KUUDRA Keys you can only semi-AFK it at max. But it's actually still really good to do if you want to do it. All you have to do is hit Bladesword or the Barbarian Duke a few times, which takes a few seconds at max, and then you can go back to AFKing for a few bosses while other nons in the lobby kill the other mini bosses whilst you get the kill credit. Since you gain the kill credit it resets this 5 boss limit, and you can AFK for about 15 to 20 minutes before having to repeat this cycle. Now the third and final benefit of this AFK money making method is Bestiary. And this one's actually really good if you just want some easy Skyblock XP. You get around 20 plus kills per hour minimum for AFKing the Outlaw, and this means Bestiary is just that little bit easier to grind, because it can be very tedious at times. It's honestly really good, and it's why I prefer to AFK the Mage Outlaw over any other method. Now I'm going to mention some other helpful items you'll need in order to do anything that I just said correctly. First let's start with the aforementioned Witherborn. Basically the Witherborn has 2 main jobs. 1, deal damage, and 2, well, deal more damage. I mean there's 2 reasons for this. Firstly, the Witherborn actually gives you player based damage, meaning you can receive the loot rewards for killing the mage. As you have probably noticed in many of the clips, it says I've only dealt 5 or so million damage, but in fact in reality I technically soloed the entire boss. So what's going on? Well, to put it simply, this is where the necromancer items come in. You either use the summoning ring or the sword, it doesn't really matter to be honest, and then you want to chuck some mastermind 3 tank zombies in there and summon them out. Now the thing about necromancy is that it gives non-player based damage, unlike the Witherborn, meaning you don't actually get rewarded any credit for any damage your summons do, which is why we need the Witherborn. It speeds things up with its pretty huge damage burst and gives us our kill credit. And what else? Oh yeah, right, okay, the tank zombies, right. So for some bizarre reason, the summons when they deal damage to the mini-boss, they don't actually provide any iframes, which can make for some pretty crazy sound effects. Now it's finally the forsaken time to calculate the profit to see whether this is actually worth it or not. Now after killing over 100 mage outlaws from AFK, I was averaging around 1.8 million coins per hour, which is far better than I initially expected. I mean, in my previous video about AFKing zealots, that was only giving me about 1.25 mil an hour, which at the time I thought that was pretty damn good, but this one is way more efficient in my opinion. On top of this, I also got 10 basic KUUDRA keys and 8 hot KUUDRA keys, which means I can do let's say a lot of KUUDRA runs. And since you're still watching this, you should check if you're subscribed, since I poured my absolute heart and soul into this video, and it would really help me out a ton. Seriously guys, we are really close to 1k subs. Now without further ado, I think that's all I have to say for this video. I hope you all have a fantastic day out there, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.